Welcome back to What Arty Noobs. This is the AC4 Experimental. It's a tier 6 premium medium tank. It's in the British tech tree, but it's really an Aussie tank. Yes, this one's from Australia. It doesn't bounce like a kangaroo, but it certainly was built in the land of Oz. So, this tank is on the northeast spawn of Arctic region under the command of stig80. Okay, game underway. Well, although this tank was built, or designed rather I should say, in Australia, it wasn't actually produced because instead the Australians decided to go ahead and buy the M4 instead. Oh, and that Skoda barged its way past. Yes, this tank does have design features which you can obviously recognise straight away from the M3 or the M4. Mostly those suspension bogies. Yep, that's pure M4. Now, the first tank that the Australians came up with, and they needed tanks to fight the Japanese, was the AC-1 Sentinel. And it was put together by the Australians because they didn't have their own indigenous tank manufacturing industry. And in fact, they had to build everything from scratch, all the way from scratch. They really didn't have the sort of heavy industry needed to actually build this sort of vehicle. I mean, Wargaming actually... I put this in as a sniper tank. It's not really. No, but he is getting hits on target now. No, the Australians needed to build a huge number of tanks to deal with the Japanese, but the Japanese weren't really using tanks themselves, mainly because most of the fighting was done in the jungle. So they came up with the AC-1 Sentinel, but of course that tank didn't really have much of a punch. And so they needed something else, something a little bit better, bigger, and more like an M4. And this tank actually has the 17 pounder, which is 76.2 millimeter. It's capable of 150 alpha and penetrates through 171 millimeters of armor. So it's a pretty good gun, but in this guise, it's not very good at sniping. You can see here he's having difficulty trying to get the shots bang on target. It's got a long aim time and quite a high dispersion. And although he got that kill on the SU-100 there, it's not quite as accurate as you would like, I think, more than anything. Nice shot on the Super Chaffee as well. Low roll there. And that's Arty. Ow! Yes. I could hear the rumble in the distance, so I knew an Arty shell was inbound. He didn't have sound detection, so all he got warning was that rumble. Oh, and he got a kill! He's taken out the Super Chaffee this time. But unfortunately, we did lose one of our own teammates there in the VK. And he's been hit by the M44 again, and this time round he did lose some hit points. And he just took a shot from a Jagdpanther's 88. Or was that a 105mm? I think that was a 105 actually. 302. Yeah, that sounds to me like that was a 105. Or was it an 88? Well, we'll find out at the end of the game, I think. Okay, there's an IKV over there. You could probably take that guy, but instead he's actually pulling back over this way with his gun facing the opposite way because he's, I think he's trying to get a more defensive position so he can take on the enemy tanks as they come up from the south. Yeah, our guys are pulling back from the south. There's a whole bunch of enemy tanks coming up this way. Yeah, this team are camping the base, you could say. And in fact, one of our team is the Jagdpanther is an AFK. I think you can see that he's over there and he's AFK in the cap area, so he's not going to last very long. Our guys are still trying to hold off the enemy coming from the west. He's decided to pull back and see if he can give any help. Okay, Skoda with the autoloader. Couldn't get the gun to steady on that tank. And that one missed altogether. Again, it's not a great sniper tank, this one. And it looks like our team are having a bit of a punishing time around the other side. Okay, the enemy are in sight now. VK44, was a VZ44-1 But he got a nice shot there. And another one. Yeah, that 17 pounder can be quite effective, even though it's not that great at aiming at long distance. It's just got a high alpha, which does make it very effective. There, he got that one in, and that's a high roll. There are 3 Australian tanks in the game. One of them is a British-built Australian tank. That's the Centurion 5. And the other 2, of course, are the AC-1 and the AC-4. I do wish that Wargaming would actually bring in another Australian, because, of course, there's the Yoruba, which is a Australian version of the Sexton. Or is it Yoruba? I can never remember the name, actually. I do apologise to any Australian who I got that wrong. Yoramba, I think it was. Well, we'll look that one up later as well. Okay, got a nice shot there on the VZ, and he's got the kill shot as well. Okay, but there's a Jagdpanther making his way across the gap. It's round the corner. So he's going to be close range very shortly. Okay, Tiger P gets one shot in. Kill shot. Yes! Well, that one went in, but it was only 1 hit point. But he steadied the gun before he shot. Unfortunate thing about this tank is that it can't use vert stabs, and that would steady the aim quite a bit if he did have that. Oh, Jagdpanther took a hit, and a big hit at that, but the Jagdpanther is down. He's got the kill. That's 5 kills now that stig80's got. Okay, there's only 3 of us left. There's 3 left on the enemy team. They would have been 1 ahead of us most of the way. But now the enemy Arty, the M44, can't get shots on us because of the position. We're just too close to the rock face, which makes it very difficult. Now he can only get a shot on us if we go round the corners either side. The enemy tanks, they've got a VK3001P and a Leo. Got to wait and see which one turns up first. M445's looking around the other side. Enemy Arty's firing at our M44. Oh, here comes the Leo. He's coming around behind us. And you can see that big hole in the front of our vehicle from the Jagdpanther. Trouble is, the enemy VK3001 P is probably going to come up. Yeah, yes he is! He's right behind us! Oh, we took 1 big hit in the side. And we're now 1 shot for him. But the M44 saves the day and kills the VK. So, it was a bit of a kill steal, but at least Stig did get a hit on him just before the M44 finished the job. Now, the Leo is still there. So we're now 1 over them. They've got the Leo and the M44. The M44 can't hit us at the moment, but I would say actually it'd be best for Stig if he actually pulled back and went round the other side of the rock and attacked the Leo from the rear. I don't think the Leo would be expecting to get hit from both directions at the same time. The M44's moving position. I think he's trying to get involved. Oh, Leo, the AMX M445 lost a lot of hit points there from an exchange of fire. And I think now Stig's decided he's going to help from this direction rather than the other. And that's the enemy Arty firing in. Yes, he got a hit on the M445. Now you have to be careful where you go down here, because these rocks you can just so easily fall in. And oh no, I don't think that's right. Oh yeah, he went down into one of those dips, and we can see where the Leo is. He had the same idea. He went round the other side to get at this from the other direction. The M44 is making his way towards the enemy cap already, and he's lost some hit points in doing that, but I think the Leo is now one shot. Dial in, let it dial, let it settle. Oh, he went into the tracks! And the Leo is taken out of the game by the M445, but, well, Stig's still got a chance to get a top gun if he can get to that enemy M44 in time. So it's now a race to get to the Arty, and he's decided to go down the dip, I think. Yep, it's going through the gully. Does conceal his approach from the enemy M44. It would take 2 shots to kill an M44. Only problem is it would only take 1 splash from the M44 to kill Stig. But at least he's got 1/3 of the enemy team. Now he's going to get spotted when he pops up the dip and gets close enough. He'll know if his sixth sense goes off. That small cramped turret of the AC4, it wasn't particularly friendly to Australians in terms, they're big lads, and getting inside a turret like that must have been a bit of a struggle. Now he's trying to go around the edge so that they don't see him coming. The M44's just dived straight in, and he hasn't found the M44 yet. And I think Stig's decided that maybe the M44's not down there. Maybe he's moved. Does look like it. Okay, the M44 has decided to cap. I would still go looking because we've got plenty of time. He's knocked down the camp. That might attract enemy Arty fire. Because if the enemy is looking at his own clap, he'll be looking for any destruction being caused. And the M445, well, he goes straight through the camp, knocking it over. But of course he's not staying there, so the M44 on the enemy team hasn't got a chance. And he's not going to get his last kill, which means the game is over and it's a victory. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for stig80 in the AC4 Experimental. He managed to get a bruise in the middle for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 7. He got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, 1 short of getting that top gun and 1/3 of the enemy team. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle, and he got another medal. He got an epic medal, the Aslains medal, for killing 3 enemy tanks or tank destroyers with a medium tank in one battle, and they have to be at least 1 tier higher than his own tier. So very well done on the Aslains. If we look at the team score, we can see that he didn't get the highest damage in the game. That went to the Leo on the enemy team with 2,958. The second highest damage went to the VZ44-1 with 2,884. And the third highest damage went to the M445 on his own team with 2,511. We can see that Stig picked up 1,929, which means he's better than all but 2 of the enemy team. And he was in 4th place on his own team, which means that he's 6th overall on damage. When it came to kills, though, he was actually the highest scorer. He got 5 kills in that game. 4 kills went to the VZ44-1 and 3 kills went to the Jagdpanther. He also managed to get the highest base XP in the game because, of course, he was tier 6 in a higher tier game, and that's why he earned more XP. It was a tier 7 game, I think that was. Yes, because there's a IS-2 Armoured in there. 1,202 went to Stig. 1,035 went to the M445 and 871 went to the IS-2 Armoured. He fired 31 shots, got 19 direct hits and 16 penetrations. I'm afraid this goes down to the accuracy, despite the fact that he has fairly good penetration. And Well, Wargaming says it's got decent handling. It really hasn't. It's not a very good sniper. It's not really a good brawler, actually, for that matter, because it's only the 17-pounder gun. It's really it's an underwhelming tank, I would say, overall. 1,929 hit points of damage, of which 590 were at more than 300 meters. 3 hits received from the enemy, all 3 penetrated. The armor is not as strong as all that. It's only 65 millimeters at the front, and 45 at the sides on the hull, and 65 on the sides at the on the turret. He also got 2 hits by way of splash damage. Both of those came from the M44. One was a near miss, which actually stunned him. The other one actually did do some splash. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 were killed, 337 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 35 capture points while he was in the cap, but yeah, we couldn't get that last kill. 33,456 credits for the game, and after repair, ammunition, respawn, and consumables, he actually still made a profit of 9,809 credits overall. 1,202 XP for the game, 902 for personal reserves, 10,818 from personal missions payout, and 541 for this being a premium vehicle. Took away 14,064 experience points altogether. So an ace tanker in the AC4, which I think is probably one of the most difficult tanks at this tier. It's not as good as, well, some of the other premium vehicles. And I think a lot of people, when they do buy the AC4 Experimental, well, they buy it maybe as to try it out, to see what it's absolutely like. But I suppose you could use this as a trainer, because it does generate reasonable XP, but it's not as great as some of the other tanks, such as the M4s and variants. So really, yeah, it's the Centurion Mark V is much better as an Australian tank. It's much more representative as the Australians, although unfortunately it's not an Australian built tank, or at least it may have been built in Australia. Somebody will have to correct me on that. It might have been built in Australia from designs that came from Great Britain, but certainly the Centurion is a much better tank altogether, and of course that one did actually serve in Vietnam. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And of course, please do let other people know that this channel exists and that we do have rather a large number of videos, over 7,500. That's much more than Jingles and Quickie Baby and Klaus Kellerman. I would say combined, but I think they've actually caught up a bit with me now. But I still have more videos than each of or any of them individually. Thanks for watching.